Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Overcast Gamer Show. We're actually doing this one on a Monday. It's a little bit different because yesterday we had our launch live stream. Went very well, so you're welcome to check that out
Wait,
on
hang
our
on.
YouTube channel.
It's Today's not Monday. It's a Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. My bad.
You've lost a day.
I've lost a day. I've
I
lost
was
my
really
weekend.
confused for a moment as well. I was like,
It is Tuesday.
So, hang on,
apologies for that.
have I gained, what, did I gain a day somewhere? Or?
I lost a day because yesterday was pretty much doing nothing.
Right.
I was recovering from our stream. But yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that towards the end of the episode. But we'll just kick into what we've been playing, I think. And the first thing before we get into the big one is Hotline Miami 2. I've been playing this. And do you guys know anything about Hotline Miami?
Not really.
No?
I know it came up in one of our chats a while ago, but I don't know anything about the game. So
Okay.
I'd love to hear
the
it.
sequel to Hotline Miami
Yeah,
1,
that is correct.
which I did play and did enjoy very much.
Yes, it is the sequel. So Hotline Miami is essentially a top-down, some would say grotesque shooter. It's sort of really, really fluid, highlighter colours. Everything's a little bit bizarre, drug-fueled maybe, hyper-stylized violence, like incredibly violent, graphic pixel violence.
And so it's a top-down shooter where you're just running about murdering things?
Yeah, essentially you're just trying to kill everyone on the stage. But the thing with Hotline Miami is it's relentlessly unforgiving. So you'll one-hit kill for everything. You can one-hit kill everyone, pretty much, but they can one-hit kill you as well. So you have to... There's a little bit of planning, but it's more to do with the flow because there's this amazing soundtrack as well. It's all set in the 80s, and it's got this incredible sort of pulsating, what do you call it, like sort of synthy 80s pop soundtrack going on. So you sort of mix the gameplay with the music and you get into this mode where you're just going through and almost killing people to the rhythm of the songs kind of thing.
You just get caught up in sort of a red-tinted killing frenzy.
Yeah. And it's fantastic. Like, you know, apart from the obvious problems of people who have mental issues probably should not play it, because that would lead
Trigger
to some...
them.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's great. It's a really, really good game, and I loved Hotline Miami 1. It has a story, but it's a bit esoteric and hard to get into the story.
Yeah.
So and Hotline Miami 2 only really furthers that.
So, quick question on it. One thing I disliked in Hotline Miami 1, purely because I just felt it was kind of bad game design, was some of the rooms exceeded the borders of the screen.
Yep.
So for the majority of the game, the rooms were quite small, and you could see multiple rooms on your screen at a time as you moved through. But there were one or two throughout the game where just standing in the room, you didn't see the whole room. And if there were guys in the room, they could kill you from off screen because they would see you, but you couldn't see them. Does that persist into Hotline Miami 2?
Definitely persists, and there's even much bigger spaces in Hotline Miami 2. Huge spaces. I mean, that's kind of part of it because I see it as a Dark Souls-y thing, like a learning. So you figure out, where you got killed from, and you can make sure to not get in people's line of sight next time, because there's a whole bunch of windows in this game as well, so people can kill you through windows. Which are just essentially little blue oblongs on the screen, and if you get in front of those, people can just take you out. Can
you see bullets coming, that kind of thing, so you can dodge, or is it like... You
can and can't. They're really fast. It's incredibly hard to dodge. You pretty much can't be in anyone's line of sight for more than about half a second. Otherwise, you will die. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a mix of melee combat and automatic weapons and things like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed Hotline Miami 2. It took me about 17 hours to finish, I think, in total. Decent sized game. Got it for $4 on Steam. And I was happy with the experience. There was a lot of frustration, very Super Meat Boy-esque trial and error type stuff.
I assume the masks persist as well?
Yeah, the masks, without revealing story spoilers, the masks are definitely back. And it's sort of a follow-on, I guess, not using the same main character. But there is homages and things to the previous game.
I'm assuming in the first game the main character dies.
Something happens to him. Yeah. He may not die, but something definitely happens to him.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it. And
interesting.
They're not going to make another one because apparently Hotline Miami 2 was the game they've always wanted to make. Dinaton, I think it is.
Now they've just all died.
So they're not making,
goal achieved.
Making another one, but I know I'd highly recommend it. I think it's great.
I think for 17 hours worth of gameplay to what was it, $8?
$4. Yeah, there was a Dinaton sale last
You know
week,
what? I saw that sale. did not click that Hotline Miami was those guys.
Oh,
so I was
right,
just
right.
like, I don't think of anything those guys have made, and I'm too lazy to do the one click to look at their catalog of games. Because normally these days I just load up Steam so it automatically updates everything in my library should I want to play something.
Yeah.
So it's just
This one's been on my wish list for a while, so Steam sent me an email. I was like, hey, it's discounted. I was like, oh, excellent. I'll pick it up then.
Get it
So
in
I've
there.
been waiting for that. So
Very cool.
yeah, it was awesome. So highly recommend that to everyone. I'm not sure if it's still on sale, but if it is, pick it up. Give it a go.
I'm impressed that you've managed to find 17 hours.
Yeah.
That was before the Uncharted came out,
yes.
so I knocked that out the previous week.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really good, and that was taking me back to my PC gaming, which I haven't done for a long time because my computer's a shitbox essentially and can't really run much. So I rely on these small indie games to get me through, kind of thing. And it's available on console, PS4 and Xbox One, I assume as well. But it is, it's about $20 or something on there. So when I saw it for $4 on Steam, I was like, yep, that's
I'm sort of the same at the moment actually because I own a Mac. And it's the same sort of situation, but on the other side of it, in that there's just not a whole lot of games available for me.
Right.
There's a bit on Steam, but they tend to be a little bit rubbish. But I actually just last night, because I didn't have access to my PlayStation, got a message from a friend who's big into sort of trading card games and that kind of thing,
Like
particularly
Hearthstone.
like Hearthstone. Yeah, exactly. And Hearthstone was a big game of his for a while. And he mentioned a game called Duelyst. So Duel, D-U-E, Duelyst.
Duelyst.
And then
right.
Y-S-T instead of I-S-T.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Duelyst, whatever, however you want to say it. But that was interesting. I played around on that for maybe, 30 minutes to an hour last night as we were waiting for Game of Thrones to download.
Oh, yes.
And it was interesting in that, like, it was, like a sort of small indie game, but you're on a kind of a grid playing field, and you control like a little character, and you can move them about, and you play cards to do certain things, so like bring forth minions and cast magic and that kind of thing. So it's like an interesting mix between a real-time strategy, or not real-time strategy, turn-based strategy game, and this trading card kind of thing, because as you win matches, you collect cards and you can play those in the next matches and things. So I'm not sure if it'll really grab me because it's just not probably my kind of game, but it seemed like if that was your thing, which is what it is, my friend's thing, he's just absolutely into that.
And it's well made and everything.
Really well made. I can't remember who the dev was, but it seems to be pretty robust in its gameplay. Pretty small snapshot, but anyway, the point is that there's lots of games out there for people who are looking for just a cheap kind of indie experience, and this one was free. So
you can't go past that.
Yeah, I mean you can't beat that value.
No, you can't. You literally cannot.
Yeah, but that's good.
So that you've been playing anything else, man? Just Duelyst?
The only other thing, and I'm sure we're all in the same boat, and probably every person out there who owns a PlayStation has been Uncharted 4.
Right.
Which we've already had a bit of a yarn about. Yeah, you've heard of it?
Heard of it.
It's got old Drake and
Drakey
and
Drake
Sally in it, right?
Yeah. Sally.
Which is, I mean, in my mind, phenomenal.
Best word to describe it, man, for me as well.
Now, I know we've all been playing it, and there's been some mixed opinions going around. How about we could do this? So I've given phenomenal. I've given phenomenal as my single word.
Yeah.
Let's just rock around and we'll get a single word from each of us to sort of sum up our impressions of the game.
Okay.
Just one word.
On the spot, eh? I think I'm gonna go with polished.
Polished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very similar. I would have gone with just refined.
That was my impression first up of the game, before I'd had a chance to really get into the intricacies of like the storytelling and all those kind of things that they brought to it. It was just like, wow, it looks incredible. And
it looks and runs as promised, which is so rare these days.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like in an age where you get sort of like E3 demo videos and things, it's like, look how good our game was going to be.
And I mean, that's something that did happen with Uncharted 4 as well. They did have to drop the graphics from the initial announcement, but they were upfront with that the whole way through. Yeah. They never said, that is what you're going to get when it comes out. They were very clear on the fact that there have been multiple points throughout the development process where they had to slightly tone down the graphics to make it work at the, just perform the way they wanted it to, and the way they knew that players wanted it to.
And, it's okay when that kind of thing happens, as long as they're upfront about it, especially with a game like Uncharted where there's no loading screens.
Yeah, that was another thing I didn't really take it into account when I was playing it, but when it transitions from cutscene to gameplay, after a while I was like, oh, wait. There hasn't been any black screen or anything. Right? I mean, the other ones have gone from like a black. Sometimes go from a black.
They
screen
have a transitional period where it doesn't just seamlessly go from the cutscene has ended and literally the exact pose.
But it's
that
not
they
a,
said
like
at
it's
the
not
end
like
is
a
how you're
spinning
going.
thing.
No, nothing like that. Nothing. But this one's just taken it to that next level where there literally is no sort of small.
I believe for the most part, Last of Us did that as well, though. I don't think this is new to Naughty Dog. I think that they did.
No, it's always been a thing that they've done for sure. Yeah,
they've been pushing that forward. But
interesting. So now we all have our one-word impressions. What would we?
They all sound pretty positive. They're all positive connotations.
That's why I threw that out there as my word, because I do want to get it across. I thought it was a fantastic game, so I didn't want my one word to be disappointed.
Right.
Although that is the feeling I had when I finished it. And it's not because the game was bad, it's purely because it was different. And I think we can all agree, if we've played all the games, that the flow and the progression and the way they push the narrative in this game at some points in the game is quite different to how it's been in previous Uncharted games.
Definitely.
And I didn't approve of the differences. Now, I know I'm in the minority there. The things they changed, such as those more open area sequences where you're able to freely explore, most people would love those and be like, it gives me a chance to get into this world that they've created, have more of a dig around. However, for me, Uncharted has always just been, I guess a good way to say it is, there's story driven and there's story focused. Uncharted as a series has always been 100% story focused. I would say that's a step up from driven. So with story driven, the story is the driving factor behind your playing of the game, whereas story focuses, the story is the focus. Something else could be driving it, but even if something else is driving it, the focus is still always on the story. Right. And I feel that Uncharted games have always been story focused, whereas about 20% of Uncharted 4 was only story driven, and the focus was actually on something else at that point other than the story. And I didn't want that from my Uncharted. I'm happy with that from other games that I play where I know that's the case, but coming from a franchise that up until now I felt have always been story focused, and see some components that felt like the story was put to the side while you were expected to do something else was just not what I personally wanted out of the game.
Right.
And for me, it was those more open sequences. I'm kind of OCD, and I see those sequences and I'm like, I have the choice to just pursue the story and go straight to the next point, but I know I'll be missing out on something, and I don't want to miss. Even if I don't really care about treasures, but it's more just, a cool interaction or something like that could exist if I go over here. So I will drive and look around, but all that's actually doing if there's no interactions or no little story reveals or anything, that's just to me wasting my time because I just want the story. So I was really torn in those points, and I know it comes down to how I'm playing it and what I'm expecting, but the point is, if that conflict for me exists within the game, it's because a certain area of the game has lost its focus. If I can't decide where to go and what to do, it's because the game isn't telling me enough what would be the correct thing to do at this point and what I should do. And in an open world game,
optional though.
But that's the thing, in an open world game you expect that. In a franchise that's story focused, I wasn't expecting it and I wasn't prepared for it, so I didn't know what the hell to do. And that was where it lost a point for me in kind of overall things. So I was like, I feel like, and here's the thing, I told you before the pod, Abe, that I want to make a comparison to something that you don't like. And it's funny because I know that you liked those areas. You liked the ability to look around and explore. To me, it felt like an MMO quest where think the driving sequence where you're kind of driving. What is the objectives in those areas? What are you doing? You're going to those little towers. You go to a tower, from that tower you see another tower. You go to the next tower, you see another tower. Basically, it's go to A, interact with X. Go to B, interact with Y. Go to C, interact with... That's MMO side questing. The story was also pushed aside there. I feel like if it had been Uncharted 1, 2, or 3, in those points, it would have literally been go straight to the end tower. There would have been none of this faffing around with the little towers in the way, because those were just ways to get you to explore the broader area and have a look around. So I feel like that's where the story was no longer the focus. It was still the driving factor behind it, because you were going to A, B, C to then be able to progress the story. But the story at that point was no longer the focus. It felt very much like suddenly it had just become an RPG side quest. That is why I didn't like it. I just felt like it completely lost focus in that point and the boat driving point, which was very similar. It was go to A, interact, go to B, interact, go to C, interact. Now you get to go to the next area where the story actually continues. Right. And those two areas for me brought me out of the Uncharted universe. They took me into something else, which was still enjoyable to play, but it ruined the kind of flow of the game and of that play session for me. And that's why I'm not disappointed with the overall game, but the game did let me down from what I expected, because I expected to be able to go from A to B, where A is the start of the game and B is the end of the game, uninterrupted, and just thoroughly get into the story and kill it the whole way through. And there were two noticeable points that brought me out for at least half an hour each when they happened. And length also factors into a bit as well.
It's interesting because for me, when I originally played Uncharted, I wasn't a huge fan because I was such a big open world gamer, a bit of a fanboy for things like GTA. And so when I was asked to step back and just be restricted by this really linear kind of pathway, I was like, oh, maybe not really my thing. But then I grew to really understand and love it, and be able to see that, hey, what this is bringing is a really refined kind of gaming experience because they can narrow down their focus. So I'm sort of the opposite opinion, where like it's kind of cool to see them try and pushing the boundaries out a little bit. And
definitely.
It's I mean, it
was a good idea, definitely. Like I don't fault them for doing it. Like I said, I know I'm in the minority. I think it was a really good idea for them to add these segments, and I think that when it comes to replay, I will enjoy those segments a lot more than I did my first time through, because I know they're there, and on my replay, I'm not doing it for the story again. I'm doing it to explore everything and just get into the world. So I think I really will enjoy it a lot more a second time through. But that initial playthrough where I just wanted the story delivered to me on a platter, aside from the fighting segments, obviously, where I expected one or two, reloads or restarts. It was purely that. It was a good idea putting it in. I don't fault them for it, and I think it does add to the game in the long term and give replay value to the game. But for that initial once through experience, like if I were a one and done kind of guy with games and I would just play it once and stop, I would dislike it more than I do, because I would have been like, no, I see no point for those segments being in. I don't like it. As it is, I know I'm going to play it again, and I know I'm going to get more out of those segments the second time through. So I don't fault them for putting it in at all. I think it was a good idea to do it, and I know that it's something that that audience has actually wanted. So I think it was definitely a good idea for them to do it, but for me personally,
I think for a lot of people as well, I'm not sure what your thoughts on this are, but a lot of people will, like, because it's such an impressive game in terms of how refined it is, having that opportunity to go out and explore on that level is going to be, it's just like, here's some more candy. Eat all the candy you want. Go out and it's yours, And that, I mean, to me, that's kind of it. I was like, oh my God, look at this massive open area. This is so not like Uncharted, but look how good it looks. I'm just going to drive around and it's awesome. So perhaps my opinion of it was a little less refined than yours, where you really stopped and thought about it. I was just like a child in a candy store. This is great. Just give it all to me.
So to me, this game works so well because I don't feel the focus is on story. I feel the focus is on character more than almost anything. So those sections when you're driving around in the Jeep and the other vehicles and stuff, you've always got people with you. You've either got Sam or other people, and they're always just having banter back and forth, and it's building their characters and stuff. I just love spending time with those people. Sure. So while I was driving around collecting treasures and whatever, I was just listening to them yammer away and just enjoying hanging out with these guys, kind of thing, for extended periods of time. And then, as Reagan said, like I was just mind blown when I had this big expansive space to explore. And I mean, I'm not a sandboxy guy. I don't really like sandboxes that much in open worlds. That was just enough of an open world. It didn't overwhelm me. It wasn't too big. It was just that right amount that I was like, I feel like I saw most of it, kind of thing. And because Uncharted I was more just focusing on the characters, kind of thing. I didn't feel like the pacing was slowed to a crawl when I was just trying to get to the next part of the story. I was like, all right, no, I'm cool to just hang out with these guys, and that's what I liked about this game. It's just the really slow, like, great pacing for me, and the really slow moments where you just get to hang out with different characters and have a yarn with them and stuff like that. And that's why I thought it really worked, and that's why it's very similar to The Last of Us, and I can see those sort of fingerprints all over it.
The character development is at least 10, well, not 10, I'm going to go into hyperbole, but it's probably double what we've had in any other Uncharted before this. Like, it's really like it stands out. In the first ones, remember there was that one, and we might have mentioned this in another pod when we talked about Uncharted, but that moment where in one of them, I can't remember which it is, but something happens. One of like Nathan's companions potentially is killed, and he should be like just grieving and like a sobbing mess on the ground, and he jumps in his Jeep and he's like, cool, on to the next thing. And it's like, they've gone from that sort of stuff where they haven't really paid any mind to kind of the characters and how they might be thinking and within the context of the story, and into this one where it's kind of like that is the centerpiece.
Yeah, I think consequence is a big theme of Uncharted 4. What happens when you're off adventuring and the impact that has on those around you, kind of thing. That's like the main theme I feel of this game.
Oh, absolutely.
There was speaking like just on that kind of being the theme of the game. I felt like we're not going to go into spoilers at all in this podcast. You don't need to worry about it. But I felt like they did push that too hard at the end of the game. There were things they said where characters who are typically quite smart, I feel like they ham-fisted it, being like, it's fine if you explain something to the audience in case someone's reached the end and didn't get it, but when you're effectively explaining something to a character within the game, that this is the theme of the game and of your journey, I really feel like you need to be careful who you select to be the character to explain it to. And I think that was a shortcoming in the ending of the game, is that a specific character explains the theme, basically, of the game to another character. And you're like, just head in hand. You're like, I got this 2 hours in. How is this person, who typically is extremely intelligent and on the mark, not got it after 15 hours? Like, well, I really felt like that particular discussion.
It might be one of those things where they decided, hey, look, we're making a game for the everyman, so, and there's some not that smart everyman out there, so, perhaps we just got to make it nice.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what that segment was.
Yeah, I'll word it to you after the pod when Regan's out of earshot.
I can't think of that off the top of my head.
But yeah, no, very good game. Phenomenal. It really was a fantastic game, and I have no doubts that I will play it multiple times and I'll enjoy every playthrough. I mean, ultimately, you related it to Last of Us earlier, and it's like something I said to you earlier, Regan, is I was expecting the last Uncharted, not the Last of Us Charted, basically.
That's a good way to put it.
So that was where kind of that disappointment for me came in, where it was very clear that they took a lot of things from Last of Us and put it in, whereas they're working on Last of Us 2. I personally wanted those franchises to remain distinctly separate to each other, whereas they kind of blurred the lines with Uncharted 4. And again, I think overall for them and for the general audience, that was a very smart move, and it was a very good thing for them to do, but I just happened to be in the minority who I wanted that segregation between the two franchises.
Right.
And there's also sort of an element of it being the story of Naughty Dog as well.
Yeah.
As they develop and they learn how to make even better and better games, you can look at the progression of their games and all of these bits and pieces come along, and you can and if you know Naughty Dog, you know how all these kind of pieces fit into the puzzle.
Yeah. Which
I think is kind of cool. It would have been, for me, it would have been a step backwards if they'd just gone back and remade Uncharted 2 or 3 again, with nice graphics.
All the time I was playing Uncharted 4, I just kept, because I just finished the Nathan Drake collection not too many weeks ago, and I just kept thinking back and being like, this is so different. It's so different, but I love it. Like, I love it because all the characters I know are still here in this world, but it's so much more refined and they've always had good verticality in Uncharted games, but now they've gotten wider as well, and I was like, I'm all for that. Like, it makes me feel more like exploring, and I was finding new places and things like that. So I was all for it, kind of thing. But I think we'll have a full-on spoiler chat at some point.
Oh, we're gonna have to
maybe during the review, or maybe even a separate thing. Because we're definitely gonna have to, instead of sort of slyly getting around things.
When I manage to finish the game, we can come back to that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we should say Regan is playing it on crushing first time through. So he's not slow at the game. He's just given himself a ridiculous challenge.
And to be fair, it actually feels a lot harder than the first the first three on crushing. God. It feels a lot harder. Yeah. The first ones I felt were a little bit easier in that if you understood the stages and you knew where you needed to be and where everyone else was at, it wasn't too bad. But this one, because the AI is a bit smarter and they can move around, they can flank you.
Flank you all the time.
It's it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And a lot of I feel like getting through a lot of the parts in it have just been pure luck. Like I'll try it like 20, 30 times and be like, throwing my hands up in the air, which I didn't do with the first couple. Like literally like, I need to take a break. And then come back and do it the very next time. Kind of thing. So it's, but I mean, I think it's still a great way to play the game.
It's interesting because my fear if I did it on that sort of difficulty would be that I'd start to resent the game because I'd just start being like, I'm so frustrated. I just don't want to play. Screw it. I don't want to play this game anymore. No. I'm so sick of hearing all these.
No, it's not. It's a test of persistence, I think. And if you can't beat it, then you've just got to say, well, it's just me. I mean, they wouldn't design an unbeatable game.
Tactics or something.
Just think about it, and think about it more.
Does it have the unlockable brutal difficulty that was in the Uncharted collection? There was one even above crushing, which was called brutal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that when I first went into the difficulty settings at the start of the game, crushing was actually grayed out. It was the bottom one on the list. It was grayed out, and I went to it, and it was like, "Are you sure?" Crushing is designed to be really, really hard. It's like they essentially made that point. Like you may not enjoy it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. Give
you a disclaimer.
Essentially. But no, it's great. But I'm looking forward to finishing it and understanding all the bits and then I'm totally going to go back and play through it again on just a normal difficulty.
Yeah,
definitely.
Not just a normal, not an easy. I was thinking my next playthrough I'll do 100% treasure playthrough and just go on easiest. And just blitz through.
Just to get all
see the other side of the road, just run and gun everything.
Which would be really fun. Yeah. But anyway, great game.
Cool. And undoubtedly. So I think what's the next thing? Do you want to talk about Overwatch at all, or?
Yeah. I mean, sure. I've played a lot of Overwatch.
I want to know what the appeal is, because in my mind I've looked at a couple gamply videos and I'm kind of like well, to me,
do you like
shooter.
Competitive team-based shooters?
I wouldn't say they're my favorite.
Then it won't be your favorite. Like really, that's it. That's the bottom line. If you enjoy that sort of game, this is potentially the best example of a game in that genre. The genre being team-based shooters with kind of classes. So your characters are akin to classes with specific abilities.
Character progression and stuff like that?
So, no, you have account progression. So your account ranks up. Every time you rank up, you get a loot box. The loot box contains cosmetics.
Right.
There's nothing that can give you an edge on anyone else. Arguably, some people argue that some skins have smaller hitboxes and stuff like that, so it's harder to hit them if they're using that. I've seen no evidence of that whatsoever. Most of the skins are recolors, which means they're exactly the same character model, so I fail to see how that can be the case. But it's purely cosmetic upgrades to make sure that from the second you start, you're on even par with everyone else who's playing. It's purely your skill level. It's really just the classes. The character classes are just so varied and fun to play. The fact that you're not locked into who you pick, you can change your character at any time. So you just always feel like every situation is evolving and changing. As soon as you get out of like the first 10 levels, in which defense always goes bloody 5 bastions, and it's just boring as hell because it's just a bunch of turrets sitting there, which are easy to beat as soon as you know how anyway. As soon as you get higher levels and you play with other people who adapt and change their strategies based on what the opposition is doing, every match plays out completely differently. And it's just,
I suppose you would expect this from Blizzard, right? I mean, every Blizzard game I've played has always been really good.
I'd use the same words as with Uncharted 4 to describe it, just in polished and refined to a T. Like, that's it. They took a simple concept and they pretty much made the perfect example of a game following that concept. If we were to use the 1 to 10 scale and say that 10 out of 10 isn't a perfect game, but it's a perfect example of what a game in a genre should do, then I would say that Overwatch would be a 10 out of 10 for its genre, because I'd say it's above and beyond everything else that exists within that genre, and it is the perfect example of how that genre should play out.
Is there anything missing? Like, would you say that the game would benefit from like a character progression?
Sure, I feel like character progression, no, because the whole point is everyone needs to be on equal footing at all times. I think they've realized that something that kind of doesn't decrease the lifespan of a game, but Blizzard's very good at keeping their games accessible to everyone. So, their game could be 3 years old, but a new person could pick it up and start playing. And I think they've realised that where other games fall short, FPS especially, is people who have been playing for 3 years are max level. They've got better guns, they've got better perks. They can just kick your ass if you hop in at level 1.
Right.
And they've kind of gone like, we don't want that. We want people to be able to start playing 3 years down the line and be on even footing with everyone else.
Which is fair, and because that's always been, I don't know about you, Abe, but my frustrations with those games has always been like, I just can't get into this because as soon as I spawn, I'm dead.
The learning curve is tough.
And it's like, there's lots of that anyway in it, just because, if you'll still have that dick who spawns the sniper and spawn camps, like figures out where you're likely to spawn and just headshots you as soon as you appear. Because basically you always spawn in a base area which has basically a wall that you can pass through and the enemy can't pass into it.
Mm-hmm.
You often have that dick who will sit there, across from where you have to come out. But it's really just cool. So spawn as a character that won't die in one headshot from them, or spawn as Genji who can deflect and literally just run out, look up at them, hit deflect, and when they snipe you, they headshot themselves because you just deflect it back at their head. Or spawn as a Reaper and teleport behind them. Like there's counters to everything. So really it's just, you've got to just, basically it's not a game that you can go in and be like, this is my favorite character and I'm always going to play them. You just need to be open to adapting based on the situation. And that's what appeals to me about it, is I'm always someone who, I'll play an MMO or even a single player RPG, I'll put in 80 hours and then I'll be like, fucking regret my class choice from the start of the game. I wish I could be this. And this is one of those games that's just like, even though the matches are only 10 minutes, you never have that regret. Because literally you just stand in your spawn and press H to bring up the change character. You don't have to die to do it. So you could spawn as a character, look at your team comp and go, actually, no, I'd rather be this. Just bring it up and change straight away right there, kind of thing.
That is cool.
And
it makes me think of, it sort of sounds like that kind of like the whole sort of trading card game and easy change of that kind of thing based on like, they've done Hearthstone and all that kind of stuff. So
it's definitely seems to be their approach with all the recent games they brought out, is let's take a formula that exists, make it super simple so anyone can play it, make it super accessible so anyone can play it at any time, and make it super polished so that it just looks and plays and feels like spot on to what it should be. And that's Overwatch in a nutshell, pretty much. Take Team Fortress 2, add more classes, add more maps, refine it, done. Like that's pretty much it. And I love TF2, and a lot of people are saying, well, if they're doing that, they're not changing much from TF2, so why should I pay money for it when TF2 is free, kind of thing. It's a good argument. It's really, that's it. Are you prepared to pay for TF2? It's more refined, but ultimately I think you're a cheapskate if you're not. Like, I mean, a lot of people put the argument forward, and those are the same people who have like 5,000 hours of Team Fortress 2, and it's like, well, what's wrong with you? Why would you not pay for that experience? You got 5,000 hours of joy out of that game. How stingy are you that you're not prepared to pay for that experience you've had, kind of thing?
That's a tough conversation to have, though.
So that's for me. Like, I played the beta, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting it. That's it. I'm getting it. It's the second the beta ended, I cry every time. Like I was just like, now I've got to wait 2.5 weeks until the game launches to carry on playing, kind of thing. And I'm there. Like, am I playing TF2 in the meantime? No, I can't go back to it now. It's not polished enough. Like it's not as fun. And that's really all it comes down to, fun. This is the most fun I've had playing a game in a long time. It's just flat out fun to play.
I played a wee bit of it because for some inexplicable reason my PlayStation Plus subscription, which I haven't renewed for months now because it's all terrible, all the free games, it hadn't been charging me. I haven't renewed it, but for some reason I can still play online. So sweet as, I'm not going to argue with that. So I jumped in and played some of the Overwatch beta as well, probably about an hour or something like that before Uncharted came out. And I liked it. And I can see how people would really, really get into it but there was so many things to learn, so much stuff to learn. Each character has 4 abilities or 5 abilities or something like that?
Yeah, you have it does change because some have kind of primary and secondary fires as well as 3 abilities. So everyone has 3 abilities, 2 that are accessible anytime on cooldown, and 1 that's kind of your ultimate that charges up with a percentage bar. And then you've also got your basic shoot, and many characters have a secondary shoot as well. Might be like a grenade or just for example, Genji's a good example because he has the maximum number of kind of abilities you can have, where his left is he throws 3 shurikens in quick succession, but his secondary fire is he throws all 3 at once in like a shotgun spread formation. Yeah, and there's a lot to learn when you first start, but it's one of those weird things like Battleborn when we played the beta for that. PlayStation could not learn it at all. Loaded it up on PC, immediately just got it. Like, it's just one of those things. I feel like those kinds of games are much easier to learn on PC and play on PC.
Right.
Than console. Like, they just, I don't know, it could just be me. It just doesn't translate mentally. I try it with a controller and I'm like, there's too much, I don't understand. And I think it could just be the button layout that the developers choose to integrate. And I try it and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me, I don't get it. Whereas mouse and keyboard, with all the buttons on the keyboard being kind of reachable with your index finger and pinky and thumb or whatever, you're just like, I get it, this all makes sense, and it's just where my hands naturally sit, kind of thing.
Technically it was sound. I didn't see any issues with it whatsoever. Technically I was like, this is great. But I'm not a multiplayer guy, so I was like, this is pretty cool, but then I couldn't ever see myself going back to play it. I was like, this is a fine game, but it's not for me.
And you like you said, technically sound is another thing that just stands out for it. I mean, 120 FPS with 0 drops, just nothing, playing it on Ultra, no drops whatsoever, ever. And I was like, that's good, not just for a full release, but for a beta. Bloody good.
It's got a nice UI and everything as well. Like, the art style is really cool.
120 frames per second. Frames.
Awesome.
Good job.
Definitely not.
I have no idea what it is on console. I think, did they say it was 60 on console?
I think it is 60. I think it's a
120 is excessive. You don't need it at all. I just unlock the frame rate and see what it does on my PC, and it just held at 120. Cool. Sometimes it would fluctuate, like got up to 130 sometimes, but
And I mean, on the topic of Overwatch, they've recently come out and said something, right?
Yeah, they made a statement that anyone they catch hacking, cheating, or botting is going to get instantly, permanently banned.
Wow.
That's it. No second chances.
Fist is coming down.
No explaining yourself. Just literally, no, you hacked in this game. You're gone forever. We don't want you in our community.
They'd have to be very confident around how they're actually assessing that. Like,
none of the from stuff with Dark Souls 3. Don't take candy from strangers, or you'll get banned. Do you guys hear about that stuff?
No. What's that?
So that's another thing recently about hacking and banning. Is From said basically, in Dark Souls, you can drop items for other people in your game world, or the host can pick up items. I don't know if Invading Phantoms can. I haven't really tried it, but basically on the PC version, people would hack items to make them ridiculously strong. I mean, I saw a video where one person hacked an item so that if they hit you with it, it just teleported you away. So they would just win every fight through disconnecting you, pretty much. And it pretty much said anyone caught in possession of one of these hacked items, their accounts, their saves are going to get wiped and everything. Problem is, you can drop them, so you could be a friendly phantom in someone's world, drop an item for them, not telling them what it is, just play through and seem super helpful, and you're like, cool, I got this cool item. Wake up next day, go load it up, save file's gone because it's a hacked item. And they basically released the statement, don't take candy from strangers. If you see a random person come into your game and drop something, don't pick it up unless you know who they are and know what it is, or are playing on a console version, which finally have a reason to say we're the superior version because you can't hack our game, so we have no way of being banned.
I can see this becoming like an online bullying thing, eh?
Yeah,
where
pretty
kids
much.
Are like,
he beat me, so I'm going to go back into his world and drop a hack.
Or something like that, or you're the loser kid from school or whatever. You're like, I'll play with you. Come, we'll play tonight. Come online. Give them a hacked item. Boom.
Save file gone. And the funny thing is, they said, like, if you want to avoid things like this, just upload your save to a cloud. Dark Souls 3 doesn't support cloud saves. So it's like, what? How can you say something like that?
Cloud file saves now. Like,
it's a Steam game and Steam has a cloud service. Dark Souls 3 cannot use the Steam cloud service. It's ridiculous. So it seems there's been quite a few announcements recently just about hacking in general and multiplayer games. So it's kind of cool that Blizzard are just like, look, our stance says you're gone. That's it. No appeals, and I'm fine with that as someone who never has hacked or cheated in a game or anything, because I play it to enjoy it and get better at it and make progress myself.
It's where the fun is.
The fun would just be gone by doing that. And I'm fine with that statement. Maybe some people, my words would be, if there's someone out there who's nervous about it and thinks like, what if my account gets accidentally banned? You either are, have been, or play with cheaters and hackers. Stop it. If you're innocent, you won't get banned. Like, that's the bottom line. If you're innocent and everyone you play with is innocent and you don't associate with hackers, you're safe. So I feel perfectly safe.
I mean, that's the main reason I don't play online, is because it's just full of absolute tosses, like predominantly. It's all griefers and stuff like that, and I don't want to play. I'm not going to enjoy a game.
On griefers, I'll make this comment out there because I know you're listening. I don't know if you are. I don't even know who it is. If you're that dude who during the Overwatch beta, whenever he won a game, said, don't buy full release, okay? Don't do that. You're clearly enjoying the game. Why would you want to kill its community by encouraging nobody to buy it so you're sitting there on your own, unable to find a game to play it?
That's really strange.
Stop being a dick. Don't buy full retail, okay? That's my message to you. No one wants you in the full game. Get out.
That's amazing. What a strange...
It's really weird. It's like my experience with the community in that game was overwhelmingly positive, and then there was just this one asshat on the final day. Funnily enough, he was on my team, so I was never on the receiving end because he always won. But I was still like, stop it. Just stop it, man. It's not cool. Like, I want them to buy the retail game because I want the community to be as big as possible so I continue to find matches within 8 seconds of queuing for them. I don't want to wait time because you've scared the whole community off. Stop being a dick.
I don't think that he really wields enough marketing power to stop Overwatch from being a success.
12-year-old in Wisconsin or something.
It's just weird.
Yeah,
online behaviours are really strange.
It is odd.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we've really been playing. And
I mean, aside from our stream.
Which as I mentioned, so we did a 12-hour live stream, launch live stream on Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And that was great. We played a whole myriad of things, from NES games to PS4 games, SNES 64. What were the highlights for you guys?
My 2 highlights were GoldenEye, because GoldenEye is fucking amazing.
It always is.
It was unbelievably dated, but still
I was laughing at it a lot of the time as opposed to with it, but it's still very charming.
Big props to Grant Kirkhope, because we all thoroughly enjoyed the soundtrack while we were playing through it.
And California Games, which is
a gem.
The SNES game.
It's an absolute gem.
SNES game?
NES. It was a NES game.
NES
1987 that one came out.
Wow, the year I was born. But yeah, if you ever want to play a classic NES game, get an emulator, get California Games. Some special stuff there. You'll love it for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, especially if you're playing with people. If you're playing by yourself, it may not be that great. If you're playing with people, you're going to have a blast. Absolute blast.
I think we learned things about
in that game.
Ourselves and each other. Regan is a champion flying disc player.
Flying disc,
I'm the undefeated king of kickball. Or what was it? Kick up or kick sack?
I think I was alright on the half pipe.
And Abe is a pro low velocity skater.
That's the one. Kick turner.
Yeah, kick turner. Yeah, it was.
And none of us are good at BMX as well.
No, we all failed.
BMX is an impossible sport.
Don't land on your head right away. That's the advice I give to up and coming BMXers out there. You will
do not break your neck and die.
It will be game over.
Your career.
But check it out on the website, because we've launched the site as well.
It's overcastgamer.com.
Yep, that's the one. Overcastgamer.com.
Yep.
And we're going to be making sure that all those stream videos are up there, and you can check them out on the site pretty soon.
It's a decent whack of content. There's 10 parts. The stream's in 10 parts on YouTube.
Yep.
12 hours. So some of the games that unfortunately didn't go through for various technical reasons to do with technical issues have been eliminated.
Yep.
Unfortunately, because I was really looking forward to playing Burnout 3, but oh well. I'm sure we'll get up to that at some point.
Turns out finding a PlayStation 2 controller that actually worked is harder than you would think.
Yeah, unfortunately the one we had, the X button didn't work, so we couldn't get past the language selection screen. So that was incredibly unfortunate.
We got a couple minutes of...
We got the intro movie.
We are the music generation.
That's the one. That's the one. Oh, such a good game. But yeah, anyway, our YouTube channel, I still can't quote the URL. It's youtube.com/ at the moment.
Yeah.
But we will have a full URL, hopefully not too long on that one.
If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you should actually do that, because that is what's going to help us towards getting a proper URL. 100 subscribers.
100 subs, not too much to ask. We just want a custom URL, and then we can actually start.
Then we can
start promoting on the pod as well.
Yeah, without speaking in tongues.
So
overcastgamer.com at the moment is probably the best place to find us. We have links. We'll have links to all our YouTube content on there, including just a direct one to our YouTube channel. So check that out, and we've got all our content up there at the moment, all articles and various things, and reviews and first impressions, bits and pieces. So overcastgamer.com. That's where you find us.
Should we say it one more time? Because we've already said it 3 times now.
www.
You missed out that http://
the internet.
World Wide Web.
So we're up and running. We're in business.
Indeed, it's been a long time coming, but I guess now the challenge for us is making sure that we keep it entertaining for all you guys out there.
Absolutely.
And of course, if there's any feedback that you want to give us, there's a contact us link as well. So hit that, and you can fire us an email. I'll check that inbox. So if you want to just slander us, me in particular, feel free to do that on that email address.
If there's any shoddy games that you want us to play from previous consoles, especially NES and SNES, because they hold a special place in my heart, let me know what they are, and I'll try and track them down and we can play them, because I love shite games. I absolutely love them so much, for all the wrong reasons, but they're a lot of fun to play. So I think that's us for today, guys. So thank you again for tuning in. And we will have a spoiler-filled Uncharted 4 discussion very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry for the shorter episode too. Actually, should be mentioned, I think.
Yeah, we're on some time constraints today.
Yes, but never mind. We'll make it up for it next time, and we'll make sure we include many Uncharted spoilers for all those people.
Yeah, I think we'll just do a full episode on Uncharted 4 spoiler cast. I think because there's too much to talk about, so we'll have to set that up. But in the meantime, stay cool out there, and thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.